G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. Well, look, lovely weather. 12 to 26 degrees. Mostly sunny today, it said, so without the cloud there, that might give us a nice clear sound in the shed. Last week, Stu, and a couple of videos I put out, I've just been using the GoPro and the Rode microphones. And I've got the Rode microphones and the receiver going straight into the back of the GoPro. And that goes all right, even though I've set it up to merge the two sounds into one if there is two. It's only one channel, but I fixed that up in editing. And I seem to be able to pull most of the sound out. These little microphones, I've actually dropped the gain on them a little bit. And you can do that in the main base station there, and that takes the noise out. So look, I think it's going all right. Please comment down the bottom if you can see a problem with it or something is not working right that I haven't picked up on yet. Let me know and we'll have a play. Yeah, if this all works okay, I'm not going to buy a new Tascam. I'm just going to work with this, and it's a good mobile little setup actually. So this one isn't working. This is just on my finger because I don't know, I started using this one. So you can run two microphones. So if you want to sit here and have a chat, you know, we can bring two separate voices in. So that works all right. Very busy week. You may have noticed I popped out a lot of stuff on YouTube and Facebook and things like that. And look, I've just found it easy because I'm in the shed and I'm a bit keen to finish some of the tractors off and play with them. And the editing process, by the time I take a video, take it up the front there, sort all the sound and all the bullshit out with it and get that going. Yeah, I've got to actually leave the shed and head off, and you know, a couple of hours later I get back, and sometimes by then if someone comes to visit or you have a cup of tea and a talk to Jude, well, the wheels fall off. And you come back here and you scratch your bum and walk around and sit in the chair and pat the dog and do all that sort of thing, and you don't do much work. So I've actually been finding using my phone, I've got a Samsung S23. And you see those stripes on it? I dropped it and there's a little crack there in the corner there, and since then it's had these little stripes on it coming down, so I'll have to take it in and get a new screen put in. But all I do, with the shorts and the Facebook reels and things like that, I can take a quick little video of what I'm up to. With the Starlink on the ute just out the front here, I have really good service, internet service now, and in the past, I couldn't really do that because the internet was up at the house 200 metres away, and even though I could get enough internet to watch a bit of Facebook and things like that, it wasn't much good for watching YouTube or anything like that. But with the Starlink on the ute straight out the front, it's 5G and I'm banging them out. So I'm finding that easy. Let me know. I don't know, I'm a bit iffy with shorts. But look, it's something that's happening right here and now, and I can show you, like I showed a short the other day of I've got the tubes out of the head, and they were corroded but not as bad as I thought, so I've got more work to do there. But I can just pop that little bit of information out, engage with my viewers, and yeah, see how it goes. So look, we'll just see, but let me know. Some people like shorts, some don't. Some are happy to watch a minute, you know, a quick little minute on an update, and we watch some travel people, and I know if I get a short on my phone and I'm watching YouTube and the short pops up, I often don't log out and watch that short. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. That's just what's working in the shed at the moment for me, and I can show you a quick little video of what's going on and just keep you updated. You know how I'm travelling with it all. So anyway, so you will have noticed that, no doubt. And the Bundy Bear Shed Facebook page, boy, I'm getting a lot of viewers, new viewers on there. And yeah, that's sort of engaging too. Yeah, so anyway, that's what I've been doing. Some of it I just share on Facebook, and some of them I put on YouTube, and some of it I put on both, and I'm just sort of testing to see, you know, what people are into. Yeah, really. But every week I'll do the stew, and every week I'll try and pop out another 65 video. Like I say, I do have a couple up the spout. I do have a couple of 123C video up the spout, and that was pulling out the bloody tubes in the head. And look, ages ago, when I did the last video on it, I had a little bolt set up and a bloody top link bush and washers and all that. Well, I have a drawer down there with all of the Massey Ferguson tools in it, and everything Massey Ferguson goes in that drawer. And as I've been collecting them more and more, the drawer's getting a bit full, and I'll probably need to get an extra drawer for the Massey Ferguson tools, you know, clutch aligning tools and the hydraulic setting tools, and just bits and pieces I've collected over time. You know, some of the liner puller stuff is in the drawer next door. But I've, yeah, I looked and I looked and I looked, and you think I could find that bloody bolt? And I'm sure I got a bolt and I run the thread down. I have to look at the video, but I could not find a 9/16 UNF bolt in the place, and I didn't want to pack everything up, tidy myself up, go to town, buy a bolt, come home, bloody. So I I did a bit of a bodgy job of it, and look, I'm just happy with that. That's all right. And I'll put this other microphone down here. It's not turned on, but the only thing I could find in the whole shed was a wheel nut. So I got a wheel nut. I ended up with an old used wheel stud, and I chucked it in the lathe and machined the taper off so there wasn't so much thread, and every so often I'd do half a dozen turns, have to undo it and put a washer on. But look, it got the studs out. And but yeah, next time I'm in town, I'm going to drop around the bolt place. I'm going to buy a 9/16 UNF bolt and run the thread down and paint it bright red or something like that, and get a top link bush and just machine where they have a radius on the edge of the bushes. They're not usually all that flat. I'll just machine it flat, and that'll, you know, just wind him in, wind the nut down, and in one hit it will come out. But yeah, look, I don't know what, I can sort of remember in my mind at the time, I put it away and bloody, but anyway, it's in a safe spot. I should get another one and put it in a safe spot, and it might be arsey enough to all be the same safe spot. Fancy that, yeah. But yeah, look, it's Monday morning now. I've been out of the shed since Wednesday afternoon. I went in to help the boys set up for Agro Trend, and I took a tractor in. Then Thursday, we spent a fair bit of time in there, setting up and running tractors in, because by the time you run tractors in and you help people out and that, it takes the day up. Then Friday and Saturday was Agro Trend, the agricultural show. Look, it used to be a huge big show, but over the years it sort of faded away. But this last one, I reckon there was more stuff there. They had 2 or 3 sawmill rigs, as in, you know, big bandsaw, mobile saws that you could have on your place and buy. Yeah, Brown and Hurley, the truck people rolled in. The tractors like Cheshire Machinery, the Case IH and Ford New Holland dealer in town, they're a major sponsor, and look, they put on a great show again. John Deere, RDO, put a lot into it as well. Yeah, the Coyote fellas, they put some in, but look, I felt it was better. There was more people around. Friday, you know, with people having to work and all that, Friday there wasn't a lot of public there, but on the Saturday it seemed to kick in quite nicely, and we did grand parades both days, and with 5 tractors in there, I had to get people on them. And the first day I got a couple of blokes out the engine compound, and oh yeah, they'd hop on and, you know, drive the tractors, no worries. Then on the Saturday, they were going to pack up after the grand parade. And so I went and saw them, oh, you want to hop on the tractor again? No way, we're starting to pack up. And I was thinking, well, it's only 5 or 10 minutes. You know, you do 2 laps of the place, and like 10 minutes the whole show's over. No, we haven't got time for that. We're starting to pack up. While you're out there, we'll be cutting fences. So, pain in the bum. And then I had the carryall on the back of the Massey 20, you know, for the one made for rolling the wire up. So, yeah, they're coming back from the grand parade, and they're out waving them down. You come over here, we need to roll this wire up straight away. Big panic to pack up, but at the grand parade, we just got back from the grand parade, and the fire trucks went past, and I thought, oh, I wonder where they're going. And then I got a phone call from Jude, and she says, your firefighter pump out here, your pump out here. She says, I can get it to run, start, but it won't keep running. And I've got a 1,000 litre IBC pod that I keep full of water. I keep petrol in the little engine on top, and it's got a big fire hose on it, and that's our firefighting appliance. And And she said, oh, we got a bit of a fire going over the back here. She said, there's fire trucks turned up and things like that, but she said, I can't get the bloody thing to run. And I said, well, hang on, I'll come home. And so anyway, I bolted home. And look, it's only 5 kilometres, which is 3 or 4 miles. And well, the bloody paddock next door was on fire. Right up behind us there, the neighbour that I always have trouble with, the fella over the back here, just a dickhead on a good day, he lit a fire apparently. And well, it's burned out quite a bit of bush in the area. And when I got home, I got it going, and Jude had sort of tried to make a wet line then, and I'll take you for a walk and show you shortly, but we kept it out of our property altogether, but it was touch and go over the back through the bush here, and where our corner fence line is, I've got a bit of a jungle there I should clean up, and I will now, but there's a little wire gate in there that we left there for fire trucks, but old mate over the back, he reckons he had a right to come in and drive through the orchard and all this sort of bullshit back in the years. So a little waddly scrub thing grew up there and I left it there. I thought, good, that'll bloody stay there. But yeah, the fire was coming towards the shed, and it was sort of coming towards this back corner of the shed, and it was coming through. And look, it was only a grass fire. It wasn't high in the trees or anything. It was only grass, but as it come to a tree, 20 foot high, it had burned that all right. But so I keep it sort of half slashed up around the back a little bit for that reason. And as the fire come through, that gave me an opportunity to hop up in there and run the hose up with the forklift and put a wet edge on our fence line. Because our fence line was tidier than all the rest of the paddocks in the area, we could wet it down, and as the fire come towards us, the flames were quite high above us, but it was okay. And the fire brigade, they come back from the corner, because as it come through the corner, it looked like it was going to go this way up the back of the shed, and that's where we've left that little nature barrier there. And if it got into that, well, some of those trees almost touched my shed, which I should actually deal with. And but yeah, they come round from the back there and they put it out that way, and I got it out on the corner here and down this fence line, and then they had fire trucks on the orchard here, and yeah, the boss of the fire brigade says, oh, well, you can thank your neighbours for this, mate. And I said, yeah, okay. And then some other person from the fire brigade come and saw me, and they said, oh, your mate over the back there, does he light fires often? And I said, oh, it's been a couple of times now that we've had to hit the emergency button. And they said, oh yeah, he reckons he didn't do it, but they said it's not hard to see where a fire starts. And apparently he had a goat burnt, quite badly burnt in and over the back here. And he's one of those blokes that he lit the fire, he got a goat damaged, and he's up the fire brigade for not protecting it. Anyway, I told him, I said, yeah, look, in the past he's had a couple of fires, and I said one of them come through some of the bush here, and we had the fire brigade, and they protected the shed and everything. And but they said, yeah, that's where it started, they said. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to talk to him about it or not. They bloody well should. And where you might remember a month or two ago, I was over the neighbours slashing the paddock, and there's an old neighbour, old Batty, up the corner there, and I offered to slash around his place as well, because there was just scrubby rubbish up there. So I did that just as a fire protection thing, and glad I did. But the bloke that owns the shed next door there, Greg, and he lives in the big yellow shed up on the hill there. And look, he's a nice fella, but funny mannerisms, strange ways. And when I was slashing the paddock over there, his son-in-law Justin had a horse there, but the horse is gone now, luckily. And I said, look, I'll go up and down Greg's drive and slash around his shed a bit. And he went and saw Greg, and Greg said, oh, no, tell him don't do that. I'd rather me privacy. And, wander around in the nude a bit and bloody. And I said, well, it seems a bit silly. And he had grass like 3 metres high around the place. So the fireys were telling me they went in there, and his little dogs were running, yapping at the fire truck, and he's running out, stop, 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 don't run over me dogs. And they're saying, well, you know, we're just coming in gently, and yeah, what water have you got? Can we pump some water out of your tanks to save your shed? He says, no, I haven't got water for that. And so anyway, there ended up being 5 of the big fire trucks, you know, the big city ones. And look, I don't know how many rural fire brigade trucks were there, but there was a few. I couldn't count them because I know some of them were working over the back there. So next thing, there's fire trucks all around old mate's shed up there, and they saved his shed, but it must have burnt so close to it. And he's one of those blokes, like the shed, something happened to one of the tanks that buggered up, and he's not spending money on a new tank. So I don't know how they live up there. And that's what the fiery said to me. They said, just, yeah, don't know how people live like that, because once they knew we had our fire and we had a water supply, and when a fire starts, we start the pump at the dam, and it fills that 1,000 gallon tank up the top there, and we just let it overflow. And there's polythene pipes under that tank stand, and by dampening all that down and having a bit of a spray with the hose, hopefully our infrastructure stays put. And I can run the forklift over there, put the big 1.5-inch hose in, and with the pump going and the gravity feed, it's only like 2 minutes or something like that, 2.5 minutes maybe. I can have the whole 1,000 litre pod full. And so the 1,000 litre would be what, 420 gallons? Oh, yeah, who knows. So I can have that full. So I buzzed over a couple of times and filled it up, and with the little pump going. And while that was filling, I'd top the pump up with petrol while I was away from the fire, make sure it had plenty of juice. So yeah, in the end, the fire, he said, look, you fellas are right. We'll better get next door and try and save old mate's shed. And I said, yeah, we're good. So we let it burn down the fence line, round the corner, down the fence line, and where the orchard is there, where I'd slashed, that gave them a cold edge, and they come in from the other end, and that put it out this area, but it kept blowing up through the other end, and it's gone right to the road over the other side of the shed. There's some bush in behind us here where there's some houses. I went through some of the bush, but anyway, probably by 5 o'clock or so, we were under control here, and I said to Jude, well, I'm going to leave the forklift there and the pump, and I'll pop into town and grab a tractor and bring it back. And while I was doing it, I was thinking, you shouldn't be bloody doing this. Stay home, do your tractors tomorrow. So I did one run, dumped the tractor off here, and I stayed home. And where it's gone down, there's a bank down to the road, up the road here. And yesterday I saw some smoke, and I went up there, and it was off and racing again. So must have had a few hotties. So fire brigade was out again yesterday, sorting that out. But look, it all ended well. Yeah, look, we were prepared. It's one of those things, you're always prepared. You hope you haven't got to use it, but boy, I was glad we were prepared. We had a good fire, a good water supply that we could move, and I've got like a 100-foot hose on it, and it's got a proper fire nozzle so I can fan it out or adjust pressure or flow and all that sort of stuff on it. So yeah, saved the day. We got the heart going, but then yesterday being Sunday, yeah, I had to do the other 4 runs to go and get tractors back and forth out of the Agro Trend ground. So, pardon me, so I did that, got that done. Now, this weekend coming, we're going to the Kangaroo Vintage Machinery Club show. It's near the airport, so if you find the Kangaroo airport, that's where the rally is, and we're going to take the farm all over there. And yeah, a few of the members like Big Bad Laurie and Greg Upham and Ray Fermore, and then we're all going to go over there and yeah, going to camp the weekend and muck around with the tractors. And hopefully after that I can have a few spare days and I can go and see Anthony and go and pick up all the 65 parts I need and things like that. But I just can't get down there every weekend while I've got all these bloody shows to go to. So so this week, apart from working in the shed and getting organised there, I've spent some time yesterday afternoon putting the farm all leaving the farm all on the trailer. I picked it up last, and I've got like a weight scale under the ball, and I've moved the tractor forward and backwards and that, so I've got about 180 kilograms of weight on the ball, which was something I meant to do earlier, but I just didn't. And yeah, I've had it way forward, and I had about, oh look, 350 or more kilos of weight on the back of the ute, which there's no need to do that to the poor old ute. So I've got it back now, and there's actually a welded seam across the floor, and if I have the centre of the hub of the front wheel around there, yeah, that seems to be a really nice balance. So I've marked that now, so with the farm maul on, because I'll take the farm maul, being my most recent restoration, I'll take the farm maul to the next few shows I go to. So I spent time yesterday just getting the balance in the trailer. So it's about 180 kilos now. So that's good. You want, you know, I found in the past 180 to 230 on the tow ball weight seemed to tow nicely for me. But anyway, I've pumped the tyres up on the ute, and I've got airbags in the back I put on when I'm going a long distance. Oh, they're always there, but I pumped them up a bit. And so that should set it up nicely for that. But this week, the canopy in the back, I had tables and chairs and shit from our rally still in there, and signs and banners and all this other bullshit. And so it's all out now. We've put the mattresses in, and Jude's made the bed in the back, and then this week I've got to put the awnings on. So when we get there, we can fold our awnings out and have some shade and sit there and muck ass around. I'm taking the little Oz pig, the little cooker, so we can have a fire and sit around and drink a few beers and bugger around. So yeah, so if you're anywhere near Kangaroo and you want to come over for a yarn, certainly come for a yarn. I'll be waddling around, hobbling about with me dicky knee. But anyway, yeah, Kubota format's never got back to me about buying one of those Kubota RTVs at all. I've rang and I've left messages and buggered around, but just nothing. I looked at one at the Agro Trend the other day, and they're about 25 grand to get a little side-by-side, what was that, a Polaris or something, but I don't want one that bad. I have been thinking about what might work for us as a quad bike, as in, if I got to go to a tractor show and there's a lot of walking around, like say at the Kingsthorpe at the big rally, yeah, if I had a quad bike and I could just hop on that and putt around a little bit, that'd be okay. And it's a bit more robust than just a little scooter or something to save me knee. But anyway, I got around there okay, waddled about, it just take me time and get where I need to go. Probably early in the year I'll go to the Quack and I'll just see if there's anything they can do there. The left leg, it seems to, where I got all smashed up years ago, the doctor was saying that it's not draining back, like the nerve system in there is not draining back properly. And I end up with one fat foot at the end of the day and one skinny one. Hey, worst have been an old fart, I suppose. And but anyway, yeah, I was thinking perhaps a quad bike mightn't be too bad. Yeah, because by the time you fit a tractor on and you get your balance and you put your bloody tractor right up the front, say, and then there's room for a quad bike on the back probably. You know, just pop him up the back there and away you go. But anyway, we'll see. Yeah, I might even get the bloody thing fixed yet, but probably if I get it fixed, they won't let me in the shed here buggering around for a while. But that's a problem for another day, another year. But anyway, all right. Thanks for stopping by. That'll do for shed talk. I will film well, I do have to do a bit more on this 23C head yet to see. I bought some paint for the 23C. Oh, you knew it was going this way, didn't you? Yeah, look, the serial number on this 23C, it actually has the tag missing, but I think Grumpy Dave's got it written somewhere, so I'll get a new tag made. But it's 27th of the 8th, 58 was the day the gearbox was made, the casting. 27th of the 8th, 58 was the engine block, and 29th of the 8th, 58 was the arse end, was the diff housing. Oh, that's something interesting, when I look at this tractor here, this little one I'm working on, it's actually got the date on the side like a TE20. When I look at the one outside with the coal start head and the old parts one I have out the back here, it's got like a code, 11M something. So I've got to find out about that yet. It's something to do with, you know, they changed the date code and they actually had the year. I think they had the year, instead of the year at the end when Massey Ferguson took over, they adjusted the numbering somewhere, but I'm on the castings. But I'm yet to find out about that. If I find out, I'll let you know. Any of you know, hop in the comments and bloody bang away. I've actually been running through a lot of the service bulletins I have with the 23C, and I've found some interesting things like the injection pump outside with the cold, well, we call it a cold start advance, hydraulic advance on it. I've always thought it was for cold start, but on the service bulletin it says it's for light duties. So it actually backs it off and advances it for light duties. And with that pump, the timing changed from 17 to 15 degrees or 19 degrees. So there's just little things in there that have changed. It's quite interesting. I said to Jude, I'm thinking of setting up like a little office, not a workshop backdrop here, just a little set really, so I can sit at a desk and I can show you some of these bulletins and we can read them out and have a chat about them and see what other information we can find. I reckon it'd be interesting. I do have a lot of them, and at what date this changed and what date that changed, and at some stage through there, the 35 actually got 65 gearbox components put into them to make commonality of parts a thing for Massey Ferguson, which is just bloody unheard of now. But anyway, I am thinking of making a little set of some sort. The trouble is I've got a little garage up at the house that I use as an office, but if I do that of a night and Jude's watching TV, she's watching telly through the wall and the sound of the telly comes through, so it's not a clean bite of sound. Maybe in the shipping container up there I could bloody do it, but anyway, that's a problem for another day too. I've got a bloody tractor show to get to. I've also got the end of the shed up here all cleaned out. Where I pulled all the tractors out, I've had a box of 65 parts over the back, so I've brought it forward now, and I've got to spend probably half a day cleaning up that end of the shed where the tractors go. And yeah, just going to be one of those weeks. I probably won't have a lot of tractor work happening, but I've got to put the awnings on the ute, like I say, and fill the tanks up with water. I've been down and fueled it up. I've got to clean up that end of the shed so I can get the tractors back sitting in a safe place. The farm hauls on the trailer for the next week, next few days, and but the John Deere can come in, and I've got the 135 in here. I found a little spot out under the outside awning for the Massey 20 Industrial and the TEA with the plough on the back. And at the Agro Trend, the horse blokes come to see us. Did anyone have a plough or anything? Because the little hump of dirt they have to run their heavy horses on was packed hard, and they thought it was too hard on the horses, opening that up. So I whizzed home and got the plough, my Fergie plough, and put on the back of my Fergie TEA 20. And went in there, and on Friday, it might have been Thursday, while I was doing tractor runs, Greg Upton, one of the club fellas, he jumped on the tractor and opened the ground up for them. So for our rally next year, we're going to have the horses back, apparently. And I went and saw the dogs. They had a display of dogs going up and down and, racing round across seesaws and through tunnels and all that. So I went and had a chat with them yesterday morning. And, they're going to... they said they'd probably like to come to our next rally as well, so that'll be a good thing. But anyway, look, I'll shut up. I'll take you for a quick walk around. I'll show you that end of the shed, and I'll go outside and I'll show you where the fire got to. It's about 100 foot, 30, oh no, it'd be 50 metres from the shed probably. But anyway, I'll take you for a little walk. Hang tight. Okay, that's a little 23C all pulled apart. I want to get onto that a little bit more today. I've got to pull that injection pump off and do a couple of things like that yet. The radiator, when I look down the radiator from the silicon and that has to come out and be back flushed. But you can see all the shit here, and I've got boxes out, and it's all happening. So I've got everything out here, and I'm cleaning up in the corner there, and that should give me a place to put a couple of tractors, and I'll clear out some of this. Just reorganise it, a bit of packology. Out the front, I've got the yeah, I've got the farm all out there on the trailer, and on my trailer there's a little well goes across here, and if that's about in line with the centre of the wheel, that seems to be the good place for the scale. And the scale is just a spring scale that you can buy, and yeah, get a little match there. The Johnny's got to go to bed yet. I've got these Brax racks. These things actually come out and they come out, and the awnings can actually sit in there and lock in. It saves you having your awnings out in the weather all the time. So I've got a couple of tractors back in under cover over here. Right, I've got the pod over there, and I'm over near the fence now in the orchard, and that's the shed there. So the GoPro makes it look further away than it is, but anyway, that's fine, doesn't matter. And here's the burnt paddock. This is where we could actually set up a wet line and up that other fence line. And if you look way over, you can see all those big trees burnt over the back there, and that shed over there, it's hard to see on the GoPro really, but that big shed over there, that's with all the high grass around. There's still grass around, so the fireys did well, but it came right up through the corner here, and yeah, look, she was quite hot coming through there. I noticed all the birds have a field day picking up all the dead animals, but this is my little corner through here that I need to tidy up. But because I had the water and the fire here, I could actually maintain a damp line here, and coming through the bush here, we stopped it out through here as well. So yeah, it was quite okay. The fireys come along that burnt edge over there, and I was in here with mine, just damping it down as it went, and yeah, it all come out okay. I do have it sort of cleared here, but I probably should get in here and tidy it up a little bit. This fire might be a bit of a reminder to get my finger out. But we actually kept it out of our property altogether, because once it gets into this bushland here behind the shed, that hasn't been burnt for many years, and look, she'd go off like a bomb, I'm sure. So anyway, that's about it. A little bit of excitement for the day. Well, a little bit of excitement for the weekend.